What's crack-a-lackin'? Welcome in to My Mind is a Weapon Fantasy Football Show. The best place for everything fantasy football. Every episode gets you one step closer to the goal of winning your fantasy football championship. From rankings, breakouts, sleepers, best ball drafts, DFS plays. If winning is your objective, this is the place to be. Let's piece the puzzle together and get you that trophy. Here's your host, Sleezball, right here on My Mind is a Weapon Fantasy Football Show.
Are you ready for some football?
We're ready for some football, baby.
Welcome into episode 12, everybody. Today we are going to be starting off with 32 teams. We're going to start with the 49ers. We're 38 days away from the kickoff, so I'm going to try and give a fantasy breakdown of every single team leading all the way up to kickoff. Today we're going to be doing the 49ers, so I'm going to break down Purdy, CMC, handcuffs, Debo, Ayuk, Purcell, possibly Cowing, George Kittle, and we're even if your league has kickers and defenses as well. I'm going to go into both of those in detail as well. So Jake Moody, the 49ers defense, and I'm going to break down the best strategy on where to draft them and how it's going to play out this season. And let's dive into it here, guys. Starting off here, we're going to talk about Mr. Irrelevant, Brock Purdy himself, currently going off the board at ADP 97, finished last year overall as QB 6, being drafted as QB 11. Make it make sense to me. It doesn't make any sense. Could be possibly because Brandon Ayuk is not going to be there, but I think Brandon Ayuk is. But we'll touch on that later in the video here. 308 completions, 4,281 yards, 31 touchdowns, and they call this guy a game manager still, and I just do not understand it at all. So I'm going to break down these right here. These are all metrics that he is number one at in the NFL. Pass yards per attempt, 9.6, number one. Adjusted yards per attempt, 9.3, number one. Play action completion percentage, 69.2%, number one. Deep ball completion percentage, 55.3, number one. True passer rating, 113.4, number one. QBR, 72.7, number one. Expected points added, plus 217.8, number one. Deep ball catchable pass rate, 61.7, the most accurate deep ball thrower, number one. Passer rating versus man, 118.5, number one. All of these metrics, this man is number one at in the NFL. And last season, he was coming off a major UCL injury, came back early, still put up all these numbers. Now he's healthy heading into this season. Get your popcorn ready because it is going to be the Brock Purdy show, my favorite quarterback to draft at value. If you saw my video earlier, I talked about Purdy as well and how I fit into my draft strategy. I don't want to say steam draft strategy to win from the 1.01. Brock Purdy is my favorite quarterback to draft. And I'm enamored by the value and enamored how he's falling this far. And this is an absolute piece that you want 100%, especially in a Shanahan system. Draft Purdy at all cost. Heading over to the fantasy king himself, Christian McCaffrey, currently ADP number one, exactly where he should be. RB1 finished last season, 21 total TDs, 272 touches on the ground, 1,459 yards on the ground, 14 touchdowns, 564 yards receiving, 7 touchdowns to go along with it, which is as well heading back to the video I did about 2 videos ago, talking about getting this stack from the 1.01. Purdy falls in very well to that. Now, heading over to CMC and why don't even hesitate or think about, oh, we should draft someone else. He's not going to be healthy. You can't have that mindset going in because any player can get hurt in fantasy football. Christian McCaffrey, in every single metric in the NFL that a running back can have possible, he is top 10 in every single metric. It is absolutely unbelievable. And you have to remember, he fumbled in the Super Bowl last year, which cost the 49ers a possible chance at the Lombardi. This man is a workaholic, absolute freak. If you watch any of his training videos, it's insane. His balance movement, one side to the other side, upside down, all for taking hits, right? I know he sees a lot of touches and you're like, oh, he getting older. Don't buy into that. This man is a freak of nature. He's absolutely going to put up 20 points a game every single game. He's going to win people championships, and people are going to say, I don't want to get CMC. Trust me, you want to draft CMC 100% no matter what at the one spot. 49ers wide receiver 1, Deebo Samuel. Changes his jersey to number 1 this season. He is angry about the Super Bowl just like the rest of the team. He's going to be coming out with a vengeance this season. Promise you that. Currently going off the board, ADP 27, about early round third. Finished wide receiver 12 last season, 60 receptions, 892 yards, 7 touchdowns. Also bringing in 159 yards on the ground and 3 TDs as well. So you have to know that he's going to be playing the Joker role all over. He's going to be moved motion. You know, Shanahan runs motion like a psychopath. Deebo is the key factor to this offense at all times. When he is not out there, Purdy's numbers absolutely drop a ton because he is a defense nightmare to stop. Now, metrics that you have to look at with Deebo Samuel as well. The man at yards after catch, his yak, you know he's always a yak monster. He always drives me nuts with his yak too. I'm like, get down, because I'm a Niner fan, and he's just carrying 3 defenders for 3 yards. But his yak is 527, top 10 in the NFL. He was top 10 in TDs last season. Top 10 in adjusted yards per route run, top 10 in yards per target, top 10 in true catch rate, number 1 in the NFL at juke rate, top 10, number 8 in target separation. You have to look at his fantasy points per route run as well as number 2 in the NFL, and fantasy points per target is number 1. You want every piece of this 49er offense, and the huge upside play here with Deebo, which is absolutely going to win leagues if it happens, is what if Brandon Ayuk does not sign with the 49ers? I'll get to Ayuk on the next one. But if Ayuk is gone, this man is about, he's going to go wild anyways, but he's about to break absolute records if Deebo is gone in total yards for a wide receiver. I mean, rushing, if he can stay healthy. He always has an injury scare as well. Like I said, he likes to carry defenders. But I am so high on Deebo Samuel this year. Must draft player. 49ers wide receiver 2, who could, you could argue he's wide receiver 1 with the yards he gets in total as well, as Brandon Ayuk. And please, God, please get this man signed so I can stop having a panic attack of our Super Bowl dreams being washed away if Brandon Ayuk is gone. Currently going off the board at ADP 30, finished last season wide receiver 14, 105 receptions, 1,342 yards, 7 touchdowns. What to notice with Brandon Ayuk's career? As a rookie, 826 yards. Sophomore year, 1,015 yards. Third year, 1,342 yards. Gets better every single year. Went from 10 points a game to 13.4 to 15.6. This man is just getting better every single year. He is in the dead prime of age 26. He is about to explode. We just need to get him locked in. Now, things to notice with Brandon Ayuk that are metrics that are ridiculous, just like Deebo, just like CMC. Target quality rating per route run, he's number 3 in the NFL, Receiving yards, he was top 10. Number 7, yards per route run, he was number 3. Deebo was number 2. Think about that. That's why Purdy throws so many deep balls. Adjusted yards per route run, number 3. Deebo was number 2. Target yards per target, 12.8. Number 2. Yards per reception, 17.9. Number 2. Yards per team pass attempt, number 2. True catch rate, number 9. I mean, this, again, all top 10 metrics. You want every piece of this offense. Production premium, plus 13.3, number 10. EPA, number 2. QB rating per target, number 4. Fantasy points per route run, number 5. Fantasy points per target, number 4. Fantasy points per target versus man, he's number 3 in the NFL versus man. And when you're playing against the 49ers group, you can't double anyone because there's too many weapons. This is why Brandon Ayuk is so valuable to this team, because he cannot be guarded one-on-one, period. And if you have Deebo on the other side, Kittle, CMC to worry about the backfield, Purcell in the slot, it's going to be unbelievable. We need to get Ayuk locked in, and he is a must-draft player. And if he goes to any other team where he's a true alpha, expect these numbers to explode. 49ers wide receiver 3, the electric specimen out of Florida that everyone remembers, the one-handed grab that was absolutely nuts, is Ricky Purcell. Currently going off the board at 172. No wide receiver overall finish yet because he hasn't played in the NFL, obviously, so we're going to break down his college stats. 65 receptions, 965 yards, 4 touchdowns. Now, the value behind Ricky Pearsall that people don't understand because they're worried about a hamstring injury right now. I mean, the pup injuries that happen in camp have to stop getting people freaked out. Like, it's not a pup during the season where you're going to miss 4 to 6 games. You can be activated anytime. Anytime you're back healthy, medically cleared, you can be activated. Ricky Pearsall was just activated. His ADP plummeted over a minor hamstring injury on the NFI list. Now, if anything happens to Deebo Samuel, I still think he'll have better value than 172 ADP going off the board about wide receiver. I'm going to say he's in the 90s. Let me look it up here so I don't give you the wrong thing. He's going off the board at wide receiver 59. So I was way off. Now, I think that he will beat wide receiver 59 overall either way. But if anything happens to Deebo or anything happens to Ayuk, and Deebo is prone to injury, we all know this. This man is going to hit the scene running and be a flex play weekly. It just is. It's like a dynasty play. I break it down like a dynasty wise. I love to own him in dynasty because we don't know what's going to happen with the contract situation. So must trade for a player there. Going to be a hard start in fantasy, but it will be a solid addition to the 49ers team. And it's just going to help Purdy even more. My favorite player in the NFL, got to meet him on the 49ers field when I had tickets last year to the game, got to go in the locker room, got to meet him there as well. The man is absolutely my favorite player in the NFL, period. And if you haven't watched Wide Receiver on Netflix, shout out to Netflix, shout out to the show. He's just an absolute great person to be around, period. Always brings high energy. And he keeps the team as a captain offensively more than people understand, just with positivity, jokes, etc., everything. I am enamored with George Kittle's career, one of the best tight ends all around in my opinion. Now let's talk about this season. Currently going off the board ADP 63, okay? Finished last season as tight end 5, okay? Now he's being drafted at tight end 7. Kyle Pitts is going ahead of him. Dalton Kincaid, I can see that. Mark Andrews off injury. He's scary always. The value with Kittle is too good right now. This is a smash play 100%, and it's going to win you championships getting him in about the 5th, into the 5th, start of the 6th round. He might even fall to, mid-6, because people are worried about all the weapons the 49ers have. Don't not worry about that. This man explodes every time he has the ball. Yak King. Now, let me break down some of the metrics here of George Kittle and why he's so good. These are all top 10 metrics. Last season, targets, 90, top 10. Target share, number 7, 21%. Target rate, 20.3. Snap share, he was 91% snap share last season, number 2 at the tight end position. So, route participation, number 3. Air yards, number 3. Air yard share, number 3. Average target distance, number 2. Deep targets, number 1 in the NFL at tight end. Red zone targets, top 10. Target quality rating, number 1. Again, all this metrics that come from Purdy, people do not understand. So when you're looking at target versus man, target percentage per catch, Purdy hits these guys on a rope all the time. Top 10 in receptions, receiving yards, led the NFL in receiving yards for tight ends last season, still going off the board at tight end 5. Yak, 483, number 3 in the NFL. Total TDs for tight ends, number 2. Unutilized air yards, number 4. Fantasy points per game, number 5. Expected points per game, number 9. Yards per route run, number 1. Yards per target, number 1. Yards per reception, number 1. Yards per pass attempt, number 1. Why is this man being drafted so low? Production premium, number 3. Expected points, EPA, number 1. QB rating per target, number 3. Like I said with Deebo, number 2. Brandon Ayuk, number 3. Why is everyone tripping on Brock Purdy being some game manager when he hits these guys on a dime all the time with premium throws? Best ball, number 3. Fantasy points per route run, number 3. Fantasy points per target, number 2. Total fantasy points, number 5, 203 points. How are we letting George Kittle fall past other tight ends that don't even have anything close to him in any metrics? Make it make sense to me. Draft George Kittle. The kicking side of things, the rookie out of Michigan last year, Jake Moody, did not put up the numbers that I predicted he was, so I was wrong here on the kicking side of Jake Moody, but I think he's going to turn it around this year. So currently going off the board, 284 ADP, very deep in drafts. For me, when it comes to kickers, though, if you want to target kickers and that's one of your strategies, I would definitely say you have to target kickers on high-powered offenses. Dolphins, Eagles, Niners, Lions, great defenses as well. But with Jake Moody, the struggle that was there is the 49ers offense is so good that he only attempted 2 50-yard field goals last time, which really kind of hurts his value because you don't get the deep bomb points. But he finished overall as kicker 20. He made 21 at an 84% rate. He made every single extra point but one. But extra points are only getting 1 point, right? So that's the problem with the hurtful part of Moody is the 49ers offense is so ridiculous that he struggles to get a lot of kicking points. But I do think he'll have a better year than last year. I don't think he's going to finish at the same place that he's at. Kicker 20 is really, really too low for Moody in this high-powered offense. But I'm willing to draft him. But again, this is if you're a strategy draft kicker. So right now he's currently going off the board at kicker 8, right? So he's above Tyler Bass, Cameron Dicker, Jason Sanders, those guys. For me, I like to play the weekly game, like I said again. But if you're targeting a kicker, this is definitely a top 10 kicker that I would be targeting 100%. Nick Bosa, the Bear, is about to lead a vengeful 49ers defense this season who are mad about the Super Bowl last year. So they are currently going off the board at ADP 208. They are the number 1 ranked defense off the board according to Fantasy Pros. They finished last year's defense 11. They had a couple injuries that hurt them. 48 sacks, 22 hits, 5,167 yards. They had 303.9 yards per game against them, which ranked 8th. But the best stat here is the red zone lockdown 49er D. They only allowed 31 touchdowns, which is second best in the NFL behind the Ravens, who had 26, which led the NFL. Now, looking at this star-studded lineup, you're going to get your first shot, Leonard Floyd, DN, Bosa on the other side. That's going to be a nightmare to stop. You have the big man, Javon Hargrave, in the middle. Drake Jackson will rotate in. I can't wait to see him from USC. Dre Greenlaw, who got hurt last year, along with Hufanga, who are both going to be top 10 at their positions, that were both out for the Super Bowl, which is probably why we lost, in my opinion. It was massive injuries defensively. Fred Warner, the best linebacker in football. Jair, the Tiger Brown, second-year breakout is coming. And you have Trevarius Ward, who is one of my favorite cornerbacks. This defense is too star-studded not to draft. But when it comes to me, I don't like drafting defenses. I like playing the weekly matchup game. But if you are a defensive drafting strategy person, I am 100% okay with taking the 49ers in the 15th round because I just feel like they're super pissed off and going to be just going angry crazy this season. That is it for episode 12, guys. I hope you enjoyed. My next episode tomorrow is going to be on the LA Rams. So I'm going to stay in the NFC West. We're going to do all 32 teams. I'm going to go NFC to AFC. We're going to break down all their fantasy values, everything. I'm going to try and help you guys biasly, whatever team you have. 49ers are obviously my team, as you can see from behind. Now, you can find us always on Spotify, Apple. I am always live on YouTube every day. All the links are in the description. It is sleezballff. And if you could smash that like and subscribe, all the support is appreciated as I'm trying to bring you the best fantasy football content to help you win your championships this season. And that's it for me, guys. Sleazeball out. I will catch you in the next episode. Have a good day.